Hey everyone, Lucimus Prime here. So it is time for a special movie review today, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing, of course, an animated film by Disney, and this is part of their Renaissance era of animated films. And this film for me is, in my opinion, where Disney's animated films were at their peak, especially of course in this particular era, which is, in my opinion, the best era for Disney's animated films. And this film is also about 30 years old, which is definitely really amazing as well, and definitely, in my opinion, stands the test of time due to how phenomenal it is. And this film, of course, is none other than 1994's The Lion King. So, now, this was, of course, directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff, and it is loosely based on William Shakespeare's play Hamlet, but, of course, with lions as the main characters this time, with some influence from the biblical stories of Joseph and Moses. So, now how was the film made then? So, initially this film was supposed to be not as a musical, and it leaned towards a style similar to that of a documentary. But then, however, George Scribner, who had made his feature directorial debut with Oliver and Company, was hired to direct with, of course, Roger Allers, also set to join him soon after, following his work as a story artist on Head of Story on Oliver and Company, The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin. Allers then brought in Brenna Chapman and Chris Sanders, who'd worked with before Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, to serve as head of story and production design respectively. And the film went through various drafts, and eventually, of course, it all led to, of course, the musical we all know with this film, with, of course, various directors being changed, eventually into the two we had who made the film as it is. And throughout production of the film, the makers have actually also visited Kenya as well to observe wildlife and get inspiration for characters and the setting. So it definitely was a very good idea, that, because it helped, of course, make the film be very authentic towards, of course, how wildlife is, really. And they also cast a wide array of great actors in this, a very stellar cast as well, which I'll be getting to when it comes to this film's amazing qualities of it. The film was then released on June 15th, 1994, and it received critical acclaim for its music, story, themes, and animation. With an initial worldwide gross of $763 million, it finished its theatrical run as the highest grossing film in 1994, and at the time, the second highest grossing film of all time behind Jurassic Park. It also held the title of the highest grossing animated film until it was overtaken by Finding Nemo. And it remains the highest grossing traditionally animated film of all time as well as the best-selling film on home video, having sold over 55 million copies worldwide. It also received 2 Academy Awards, as well as the Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture Musical or Comedy, and is considered by many to be one of the greatest animated films ever made. When it comes to my reaction to this film then, well, of course, I have seen this film many times in my life, and I first saw this film when I was a kid, and I definitely have lots of fond memories of watching it for the first time, and it's easily, for me, in my opinion, one of the greatest films ever made, and it's definitely, for me, Disney at its peak when it comes to animated films, which are not made by sub-companies, just Disney on its own, really, you know? And it's definitely, in my opinion, the greatest of the Renaissance era, the best of the best. So what is the film about then? So this is, of course, a coming-of-age musical drama movie, and it follows a young heir apparent to a throne who is forced to flee after his uncle kills his father and usurps the throne. After growing up in exile, the rightful king returns to challenge the usurper and end his tyrannical rule over the kingdom. So, now, when it comes to what I think makes this movie, for me, the best out of Disney's Renaissance era, the best of the best, I think it has a really amazing voice cast of characters with, of course, very likeable and fantastic characters in this film who are very memorable and just unforgettable. So, I definitely absolutely, of course, love Simba as a main character, who is voiced as a kid by Jonathan Taylor Thomas, with Jason Weaver doing a singing voice, and also Matthew Broderick as adult Simba with Joseph Williams doing a singing voice. And I think Simba is, in my opinion, a really well-written, fantastic character, and definitely probably my favourite Disney animated protagonist of all time as well. And Matthew Broderick absolutely nailed it as Simba, and so did Jonathan Taylor Thomas. They both were perfect casting, in my opinion. They made him a likeable and relatable character. That's what, in my opinion, makes him so great. And I also, as well, absolutely love the absolute legend, which is James Earl Jones, may he rest in peace, as Mufasa, who is Simba's father. Mufasa, in my opinion, is an absolutely incredible character. Definitely, in my opinion, a great source of comfort for everyone who saw this film, because he's a very comforting father figure to everyone. And definitely, of course, a stark contrast to my favourite role of his, of course, which is Darth Vader in Star Wars, because while James Earl Jones, of course, voiced who's, in my opinion, the greatest villain of all time, he also voices a very comforting father figure to everyone. And that definitely shows with Mufasa. Mufasa is my second favourite voice always after Darth Vader. And he was just absolutely incredible as Mufasa. His voice is just so soothing and relaxing to listen to. Like, just so hypnotic. Everything you'd want in a great father figure right there. Thanks to James Earl Jones. May he rest in peace. And I also, as well, absolutely love Jeremy Irons as this film's main villain, of course, which is Scar, Mufasa's younger brother and a rival who wants to seize the throne. Jeremy Irons is a great actor, and I definitely regard Scar as his best role of all time. And Scar, for me, is easily the best animated Disney villain of all time. He's utterly terrifying, ruthless, and a villain who, of course, is very despicable, but a villain that you definitely love to hate, because his story, in my opinion, is fantastically well written. And I also will say that his song, Be Prepared, is also, for me, the greatest Disney villain song of all time in animated film history as well. Like, I absolutely love Be Prepared. It's definitely, in my opinion, a phenomenal song to listen to. And it makes you love Scar as a character a lot more. Because despite being a bad guy, he's a bad guy that you love to hate. And it's mainly thanks to his character in this film and this great song as well. So I definitely think those three characters were probably the main highlights of this movie. There's also as well great supporting characters in this. I definitely loved as well Moira Kelly and Nikita Kalaman as Nala as well. She's also a great character as well in this film, and definitely a great loyal or best friend to Simba, who of course later becomes his mate as well, and the Queen of the Pride Lands. And Sally Dwarf did a very good job with her singing voice as well in this. I also as well definitely love Nathan Lane and Ernie Sabella as Timon and Pumbaa as well, who of course are outcasts who meet Simba and become their best friends with him. They're definitely, in my opinion, great characters, and they're definitely the comic relief of this film. They're just so funny, in my opinion, and great characters at the same time, both likable and hilarious. I also as well definitely love Robert Guilliman as Rafiki, may Robert rest in peace. Rafiki is definitely a great character, the old mandrill, who's a wise character, the shaman of the Pride Lands. He's definitely, in my opinion, a really great character in this, and his scenes are definitely really great to watch. And I also definitely love Ron Atkinson as Zazu as well, who of course is the Hornbill, who is the major domo to the king. Ron Atkinson is one of my favourite comedians of all time, and Zazu is easily my favourite voice role of his because he's such a great character. And definitely very, very loyal to the king, of course, as the major domo. And definitely a really funny character as well, because Ron Atkinson is one of my favourite comedians, and he made Zazu really funny. I also as well love Madge Sinclair as Queen Swabi, may she rest in peace as well, who is my father's mate and Simba's mother. I think she was great as Sarabi in this, and it's also pretty poetic how, of course, back in the film Queen to America, as I talked about last week in that review, that she played, of course, the Queen to Angel Jones King in that film, and then in this film, which is definitely pretty cool, pretty poetic, I must say, really. So yeah, this film definitely has a really great cast of actors in this, absolutely. And also, as well as that great cast of characters, there's also lots of great songs in this film which are very memorable. For example, I've already talked about Be Prepared, which is definitely, in my opinion, the best villain song of all time. I also love the opening song, which is Circle of Life, just a beautiful, memorable song. And also, I just can't wait to be king, and also Be Prepared. I just talked about as being the best Disney villain song. And also Hakuna Matata, which of course means no worries. And also as well the song Can You Feel the Love Tonight by Elton John, which is definitely, in my opinion, a really amazing song, absolutely. And it plays over end credits, just a great song to listen to in the credits. And I also think the story in this film is absolutely phenomenal as well. Like, this film, despite being 88 minutes, of course, is, in my opinion, worth every single second of that runtime. It might be less than 2 hours, it might be less than 90 minutes, but it's still, in my opinion, worth every single second of it. Because the story is so captivating, and it keeps you glued to a screen throughout. And it's just so much fun to watch, absolutely. And it also has its fair share of emotional moments too as well. Like, ones I can definitely mention that come to mind is definitely Mufasa's death scene. Probably the most traumatizing scene in a Disney film I've ever seen, in my opinion. The most heartbreaking one ever. Like, so emotional, in my opinion, and just heartbreaking. Traumatizing everybody who watched it for the first time, including me when I was a kid. And even to this day, it still upsets me. Especially now more than ever, because we unfortunately lost James Earl Jones this year. Rest in peace to him. And also as well, the scene where Simba sees Mufasa's ghost in the sky is also, in my opinion, a really emotional scene. It helps because James Earl Jones' voice is so soothing in that scene to listen to. It's just so godly in that scene. And it also hits differently as well because, like I said before, we unfortunately lost James Earl Jones this year as well. So this scene also hits differently as well nowadays. Rest in peace to James Earl Jones. And the film also has its fair share of funny moments too. I've already mentioned Zazu and Timon and Pumbaa being great comic relief in the film. It does have its fair share of heartwarming moments too, which I definitely really love about it. It perfectly balances all these types of genres really well, in my opinion, which makes it so great. And it's also relatable to audiences too as well, such as coming of age in that sense, really. And also as well the case of Outcast as well, too, when it comes to Timon and Pumbaa as well. Because they teach you, of course, how to live your life. Even if you've been an outcast, of course, you can grow up, of course, and leave all behind to start anew, really. So I think the messages of this film, in my opinion, were really well sent out thanks to it. I think it sent out great messages to everyone, really, so I definitely really love that about it. And when it comes to music in this film, as well as these great songs I just talked about, I also definitely really love the musical score by Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer is my favourite German composer of all time, one of my favourites in general. In my opinion, one of the greatest composers ever. And his music for this film, in my opinion, is just beautiful. Like, it's very memorable, it's just so incredible to listen to, it never gets old whatsoever, it's just timeless every single way. Like, I think one of the reasons why this film holds up 30 years later is thanks to his phenomenal music. And it just holds up so well, great to listen to. The main themes that he wrote are just amazing to listen to. And together with the songs, it fits so well in my opinion. Yeah, Hans Zimmer is an absolute legend. And speaking of the timeless feel of this film, I think because it's also 2D as well, I think it also holds up for that reason too. Because nowadays I tend to edge towards preferring 2D over 3D animation because it can hold up better due to, of course, the less worry for detail being needed, you know. Because when it can be 2D cartoon, you don't have to worry about detail. And because this film is a 2D animation, doesn't have to worry about the intense detail, you know. So, because of that, the film, in my opinion, holds up phenomenally for that reason. Like, you could literally watch it no matter what day it is, like what year it is, maybe in like 50 years' time from now, and it still would feel exactly the same. No difference whatsoever. Like, is it any wonder the film gets re-released in cinemas and all that? Yeah, it's because it holds up well. Absolutely. Yeah, The Lion King, to me, always will be a timeless masterpiece in every single possible way. And it's always a joy to rewatch. And rewatching it for this review, because I literally just finished rewatching it for this review, it still holds up phenomenally to this day. Just a beautiful movie. In my opinion, Disney's best of the best, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to animated movies. Absolutely. The Renaissance era, in my opinion, was Disney at its peak. And this film was Renaissance at its peak. Absolutely. The best of the best. Yeah, I absolutely love this movie. Yeah, to me, this film can never be topped by any other Disney animated movie, especially when it comes to, like, Renaissance era films. This, to me, is the greatest of all time for that. Just an absolute masterpiece in every single possible way. Just, it's worth every single second of it. Absolutely. Like, rewatching it brought lots of happy memories, and some scenes, of course, as I said, hit differently, of course, and those parts where I got pretty emotional at rewatching. Like, that's how great a film is. You know, it just tugs at your heartstrings so much. Just an absolutely beautiful, timeless movie, in my opinion. So, this was me, of course, doing my review for, of course, 1994, The Lion King. My opinion, the greatest Disney animated movie of all time, and the greatest Renaissance era, with everything you'd want in it. You know, great characters, a great story, a great villain who gets a very satisfying defeat and most also add to as well, which is definitely something worth watching. Because, like I say about Scar, guys, he's written so well, he's a villain that you love to hate, because he's such a great villain. And his defeat is made more satisfying for that reason, absolutely. Like, everything you'd want in a masterpiece is in this film, absolutely. So, if I was to give The Lion King a score out of 10, because it's one of my favourite films of all time, with great characters, a great villain, a great story, great soundtrack, animation, just everything, I'd give it, for me, a full-blown 10 out of 10. If I could give it higher than 10 out of 10, of course I would, but to be specific, I'd give it a full-blown 10 out of 10. So, guys, this is me, of course, doing my review for 1994's The Lion King. My opinion, Disney's greatest animated movie of all time, part of the Renaissance era. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to put in the comments what you guys think of The Lion King. If you've seen it, leave in the comments below what you think of it. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe and what will come in the future. And I'll see you all later.